Oh yeah, that's another point. They didn't announce pre-orders today.
They did not announce pre-orders, and that's interesting because
huge,
they
honestly.
actually, I think they already have all the pre-order files in the game.
It like everyone was assuming this was going to be, it's out, someday, Q1 2023. Please pre-order now for your stuff. But either they didn't have it ready in the end, or they just went, someone high up went, if we ask for pre-orders, we're asking them for money. We don't want to ask them for money. We want to ask them for their attention and their time. We'll earn the money later.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something they need to do.
Yeah. So, man, I'm just trying to parse through things. So
It's the fun thing of there's, you can talk about everything they talked about, and you can talk about everything they didn't talk about. And that's just, you can talk about everything.
Yeah. So I suppose for one thing, let's just take a dive into this website, see if there's anything. So
Go for it.
There's our key art for the expansion, Dragon Isles Awaken, using a new font to what they usually use, but I don't think people will care too much about that.
Huge, big, massive.
Maybe there's going to be some stuff to look at in that trailer if Tyr made that place. All right.
Yeah.
So
is that not him dead at the top, or asleep at the top, or unawakened at the top? Which means, look at that. We have a dungeon where we go into the Tyr hold and awaken Tyr.
that could be cool. And Tyr's cool. I don't know if you probably don't know the lore, but Tyr's cool.
People haven't read Dawn of the Aspects, which means if they do Galakron here, please go deal with Galakron in the bronze stuff so we can go back in time and do the Dawn of the Aspects ourselves instead of having to read it. I know you guys re-released it as an audiobook recently, but...
yeah. I guess that was even a hint.
Yeah.
They do an audiobook of the dragon stuff. Sure. So as we go in here then... Yeah, so you've got your humanoid visage, you've got your draconic form, which I guess is going to be in combat a little bit like the Worgen.
That's a bit disappointing.
But looking through this, so you are going to have a form where you can fully see your Tyr. And it's certainly going to be a decent bit of work, mapping all of the stuff onto the dragon form. So that's...
it looks like they're not.
Well, I guess they are and they aren't.
The colors are there, but, because that's the set they're wearing anyway, it's hard to tell if that's different armor or not. I suppose we'll see in a couple of different bits of footage or whatever else, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then choose between Alliance and Horde. Then they have their own intro experience, and they're a hero class. So I think after the intro experience, you can go straight into Dragonflight, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The two different specs. I want to see more stuff. And also see this, charge up your attacks and unleash them at the right moment to maximize their effects.
Right. See,
and if you look here,
there's
3 different stages for Dream Breath.
Right moment is very, very different to hold it until completion.
Yeah.
That is a substantial difference in how you actually play a game. Although I do I obviously don't play the game at a very high level, but I kind of think it a lot of that way. And my brain's on fire because I immediately imagined a world where, the middle segment of that, in terms of time for the amount of, the amount of time you're putting in for damage output, that it's technically going to be better to instant cancel as soon as you get into the second because your GCD will reset faster, you can play more. And that's a skill cap and a skill ceiling improvement and also a little bit degenerate. But that's the adventure I went on in my head as soon as I saw that. I was like, oh no, where are people going to abuse this?
Yeah, but some of that stuff is fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's the stuff where if that was really clearly defined, and instead of that happening naturally, I guess instead of that happening by people breaking the game, they just went, okay, here's the bit where as soon as this hits this, you want to let go within a 0.5 second window. That's gameplay. And that's a hell of a lot better than pressing the flashy button that shows up on your UI.
Yeah, it just broadens their design space. So that's awesome.
Sweet spot, yeah, that's the term, yeah.
So I guess moving on then, there's some talk here of the actual isles themselves, where, we got Waking Shores, which is where we arrive to help the Reds. Kind of like these nice, more vibrant colors. Rathian will call upon Azeroth's champions to help him reclaim the Black Dragonflight Citadel from enemy hands, which I guess is going to be like the big angry ogre people. Then for this next one, we've got the Maruk Centaur tribes who forged a bond with the Green Dragonflight, but since the death of Ysera, the Greens have an uncertain future, so we could be getting, some more lore there. That's nice. Is there a span? This kind of looks like my place. So the blues, right. Okay, this is where we've got coastal Tuskar villages through a sprawling forest tundra all the way to looming spires of ice and snow. Tribes of gnolls and furbolgs call these ancient lands home. So we've got classic Warcraft, races, classic Warcraft vibes. I think they're probably trying to make this like elicit those Wrath vibes, which certainly going to be that's a good idea. Yeah, Thaldrassus. Yep, seat of power for the aspects in their flights. Stands a shining beacon of the Dragon's Kingdom. It is also here that the Baron's Dragonflight watches over the timeways, ensuring both the past and future of Azeroth remain secure. Okay, so that means there's bronze content. There's bronze content to do with time. So they could go in any direction with that one.
Yeah, I would love to be like, oh, what could they possibly do? I'm just like, please just as much as possible. As much as possible.
Yeah, and then Forbidden Reach. So Forbidden Reach was fashioned by Neltharion, the Earth Warder, to serve as a training ground for his ultimate soldiers, the Drakthir. In the aftermath of a terrible battle, the island has lain dormant and abandoned for ages until the return of an ancient enemy causes the Drakthir to stir. Thus being the start of our new race. So it is interesting then, all that Kel'Thalas, Lordaeron stuff. Yeah. Maybe it went nowhere. Maybe it just hasn't been revealed yet because there are big questions we've had, like that seed, the Winter Queen's gift that Taronda has an animation for holding, which we're thinking could be renewing, some of the Night Elf lands and holdings after all their bullshit. So we know that something's brewing there, but it hasn't been talked about at all.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's the thing where in the void of information, people, make up their own results or come to their own conclusions based on existing evidence. And I think I would really like them to tell us when they're going to do that. Obviously, now is not exactly the right context, but it's the kind of thing of just, please tell us it's going to be 10.1 or tell us it's going to be 9.2.5. Don't leave us in the dark. Otherwise, we'll assume you've shelved it and have kicked it down the road. But ultimately speaking, it's like, I didn't expect too much. Well, okay, I did expect that, but that was when the expectation of this being a longer show overall, which they would talk about like Classic or Wrath Classic a little bit more than just kind of, it's happening. Here's a really, we just destroyed the trailer. Sorry about that. I generally felt that way, but I think it's just, we'll get to that stuff eventually. I hope.
Actually, that's another thing. There's no gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
So this is, look, I'm expecting Q1 2023. We can talk a little bit about that in a bit.
Q1 if we're lucky, I think.
And the other features then. Level cap, 70 for new talents and all of that. We've got new dungeons, of course. Fight to reclaim Nethralis, Stronghold of the Black Dragonflight. New Ultiman dungeon.
Yep.
Defend the life pools of the Red Dragonflight and more. So, probably the usual. For the new raid, Ancient Prison of the Primal Incarnates before their malevolent power can be unleashed against the dragon aspects. I guess that's interesting. I wonder, is that giving us our evolution link? Because according to Chronicle, the dragons kind of are descended from the elementals, which of course ties into that art there.
Yeah, they're the proto dragon leaders called.
They look
dragon leaders.
They look really cool.
Yeah. Oh, the rock held together by lightning.
Yeah, nice.
There was something there that I thought was interesting. What was it? It was, the fact that they're actually dealing with primal incarnates implies that they're going to have a new spin on elemental stuff, which obviously means a lot of things for shamans potentially, but also importantly, it could, importantly from a lore perspective, they could be finally settling down to go, okay, what's all that spirit shit about? What's that about Azeroth, sucking up all the spirits so the elements kind of lost their marbles? If the dragons were given the orders to protect Azeroth, then they would have to deal with elementals in that way. So I think that's there's a lot of basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of really cool lore they can get into, and a lot of cool direction that would impact a bunch of existing stuff. Because obviously, a shaman going, there's a new aspect to the elements that we're not really sure about. Okay, can we talk to them? Can we figure out what's going on? What's happening here? All that stuff would be great. Also, the evolution link. If they're proto dragons and they have leaders, then what does that say about the proto dragon leaders that became the aspects, as opposed to just the proto drakes? Lots of interesting stuff.